All right, welcome back. In this chapter, we're going to talk about generated backgrounds. Now, what do I mean by generated backgrounds? Well, what I mean by generated backgrounds is we can actually use CSS to generate in a gradient or colors or what have you in order to make things that maybe we would traditionally do with images. So let me show you a quick example here. Here we have a basic linear gradient, which I tried to type in, but because it's still a vendor prefix property, I need to do WebKit linear gradient here in Chrome. But this sets the gradient as traveling from the top to the bottom and being 2 color stops, and I just tweaked it to being a 3rd color stop. And I can adjust where those color stops fall in terms of the gradient. Here you see me adjusting it lower in the percentage. I can raise it up in order to tune the linear gradient to exactly what I'm looking for. Now, this syntax is kind of obtuse to look at. I'll be the first to admit that. So what I've really found to be a super helpful tool is ColorZilla's gradient editor. And with the gradient editor, we can actually go in and choose from a bunch of predefined gradients, or we can dive in and take one of them as a starting point and then tune the different pieces, adding and removing different color stops, adjusting where the colors fall. We can even do things like adjust what the actual color is in order to tune it to what we want. Maybe I want something of a darker blue. And then I can even adjust the alpha transparency of that color in order to get just the look that I want for the design that I'm trying to achieve. Now, on the right-hand side, what you'll see is that I have the ability to control orientation and the size of the gradient, and all throughout, the editor is generating the CSS for me, and it gives me all of the vendor prefixed versions from the Mozilla version, the 2 different WebKit versions for old WebKit and new WebKit, the Opera version, the Internet Explorer version, and then finally the standards version. It even throws in an extra filter version, which is used for IE6 through IE9, which is pretty awesome. This is just a taste of what you can do with gradients. If you look on CodePen, there are a ton of beautiful examples of really interesting things that people have done with gradients, and you can create some really interesting effects with them, all without having to resort to using actual image elements, which is fantastic. It saves a lot of download resources for your users. So in this very brief chapter, we've discussed background gradients, and in the next chapter, we're going to tuck into borders. I'll catch you in a few minutes.